I find it extremely fascinating to know that you can be someone else on stage, and also in a play. I mean, I've never had the pleasure of being just, oh, hello, Facebook. Let's see if this works again. Um, I've never had the pleasure of just being on in a play and just playing as an actress. I've always portrayed a character through song, through singing, and I absolutely love that aspect of my job because it just makes me feel like I could be. Hi, Shireen. Hi, guys. It just makes me feel like, I don't know. It's a personality thing. It just makes me feel like. It gives me power to be able to tell someone else's story, in this case through song, obviously. I started, obviously, my father is a British Iranian composer, so I started very early on learning about. Hello again, King said. I hope this is working. Hi, guys. So sorry about the connection. So I early on started learning with my father. I learned the piano, and later on I started doing some singing lessons before I went into Silver Young Theatre School, and then after that I had singing lessons with various teachers from different conservatoires, and then I did my undergrad at City University in Guildhall. I did a joint course, and before in 2012 I went to hi Claire. I went to Trinity College of Music, where I did my postgraduate diploma in vocal and opera studies. Well, how did I get here? Well, to be honest with you, ever since I left college, it was all, I was in the big wild world, and it was scary, but I was quite lucky to be able to be given different opportunities to go on stage and perform different roles and do different recitals, which kept giving me more and more confidence. And of course, the more you are in the industry, the more you learn from it, and the more you learn about it. Hello again, Sarah. And so it's like, if I think about it, it's like a journey that I don't know how I got here, but I'm here, and I'm extremely grateful to every single person who has helped my career up to now, and is continuing to help and support my career. My normal day-to-day work is I teach a lot. I teach singing and piano. I have my own music company, and I'm really passionate about music education. So my day-to-day work is mostly teaching, thinking about how can I really improve my own way of teaching, so children, adults, and people who are studying with me really understand what we're talking about, whether it's about piano or whether it's about singing. So I do practices, and I do learning roles when there are productions to rehearse for, and also concerts and other whatnot that we performers really do. So today I would like to talk about revisiting a role. So what do I mean by revisiting a role? I mean, I have in particular sung Musetta in Puccini's La Bohème over 100 times, and I must tell you, it has been, singing this role is like, I don't know, it's like revisiting my grandmother again. It's so comfortable. It is so comfortable, but it wasn't comfortable at the beginning. In 2015, I started my first ever. Hello, guys. Hang on, before I continue with my story, please do ask me questions, because you know what, you're my audience, and I would love to get something from you. So give me some questions, and I would promise that I would try and answer as many as possible. Okay. Anyway, so in 2015, I sang my very first Musetta in a traditional production with another opera company. And what I mean by traditional production, it was, we had the big chorus, we had all the children, we had every single character, and they were all, everything about this production was very traditional. And of course it was in the original language, in Italian. And I remember when I first was given the role, I took it, obviously I went to my singing teacher and I said to her, I'm doing Musetta, but I can't do Musetta. And she had a smile on her face, and I said, what is that? And she said, believe me, you are more Musetta than you think you are. And I thought, hang on, I can't really do this. But the more and more I studied the role, the more I realized, okay, she might be the tart with a heart, but it's the heart part that I can totally relate to. I can be compassionate, I can be sympathetic, I can be loving, but it's the tart part. I just don't know what to do. And when I did the very first time, what am I drinking? I'm drinking mint green tea. Would you like some? The very first time I did it, I had it in my head that I had to be different. I had to be someone who's not honey. And whilst that was quite okay, and you know, the performance went well, and oh, hi, Ella. Oh, so nice to see you. And whilst the performance went really well, and it gave me a huge boost of confidence of, hang on, I can do this, because, you know, I had to flirt with people on stage. I had to, you know, seem like the person who's jealous, and seem like the girl who doesn't care about anything else but herself. And whereas in reality, that wasn't who I was. But then the more and more I did, the more and more I rehearsed, then the more and more I actually learned about Musetta, I realized actually she's not really all about that. She's very much about compassion and being sympathetic and being selfless at times. And I think she is the only character in the entire opera, for those of you who know the opera La Bohème by Puccini, that has a huge curve of change in her personality from the very beginning, that she comes across as this extremely selfish tart that, you know, just wants to get her ex jealous by coming into the cafe with an older lover at hand. So, but then at the very end, she's the one who's like, we need to help. So for me, that finding that part of the character was extremely important, and that really helped me to understand what she was about. But when I did the second time I did Musetta, I was very lucky that I was asked by the King's Head Theatre to audition. And I remember when I heard from Adam, the artistic director of King's Head Theatre, Adam Spretwin-Maher. Hi Adam, wherever you are. I remember he told me the storyline, and he told me, so, you know, you do realize this is in English. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, hang on, I've done it in Italian, now I have to do it in English. How is that going to work? And in my head I was thinking, no, I can do this because I've done it already. How difficult can it be? And then Adam told me the story, and he told me that you do realize that there is no one else on stage apart from the four of you. And I thought, hang on, where's the chorus? So what I'm trying to say is that the production was so different to the first one that I had done, that it made me realize, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I really need to understand what's going on. I really need to understand what I need to do. So not only was the production more naked, it was in English, and it was a different story. Not entirely a different story, but because we had turned it into, do you speak Italian? Does it matter? Do I speak Italian? I do a little bit. My husband's Italian, so I do speak Italian a little bit. And does it matter if I speak Italian? It does. I suppose it does matter. It's good to understand the language you're singing in. So I suppose, yes, and also it helps a lot with pronunciation and the way you go about your words and your vowels, if in particular you are singing in Italian. So I suppose, yes, it does matter. But what I'm trying to say is that I think the knowledge of the language is more important. Anyway, so there was the storyline this time was, if I don't know if you all know, but in the actual opera, Mimi dies of tuberculosis. But in the 2016 version that we were doing, there was no tuberculosis. So we changed it to a drug overdose. And so a lot of things changed, a lot of storylines changed, a lot of the way that I was looking at the story changed. And so I realized that I can't just be the same Musetta as I was before. I have to change my reactions. And how did that work? It worked by understanding who I was playing against. Yes, the names of the characters were similar. They were the same, basically the same. Yes, the storyline was quite the same, but the understanding of what was going on for me was different. So what happened was that because I didn't have the big chorus behind me, I didn't have the chorus of children, I didn't have all of the other characters that support you on stage, I found it extremely difficult to show that the side of Musetta that I was not that comfortable with, which was out of my comfort zone. And so it was very hard to come to the conclusion of how can I play this role. And I must say, more and more that I thought about it, I realized that it's not actually that difficult. It's just another way of looking at her. And instead of having, coming on stage with someone, I had to choose someone. And to be that close to the audience also gave a huge different perspective to my character. And every time I played this role, which was, I'm very lucky that I've been able to play this particular role with King's Head Theatre in 2017-18 at the Trafalgar Studios, which was very similar to the first production that we did in 2016 at the King's Head in Islington, and then just a couple of months ago, or 4 or 5 months ago, just before the lockdown, we did it again at the Trafalgar Studios again at the West End. However, all of these different ways of looking at Musetta made me realize that when I am playing the same role, in order to keep it fresh, in order to keep it still going, and rather than a mundane, dull from night to night or from production to production to be the same, click the button, it's the same character again, I realized that every time I need to think that this is my last performance. My first and very last performance. This is the only time I can portray Musetta in this case. And so what can I do to make her the character? Now, I'm sure you all know that Musetta's aria Quando men vo is, even though it's her only aria in the entire show, but even though it's her only aria, it could be a showstopper. And the way you go about it, really portrays the way that aria could stop the show. In big productions, Musetta walks on tables and sits on people's laps within the on stage. However, in our productions, I've always had to create chaos within the audience because it's a very intimate production that I've always been a part of with King's Head. And it has constantly given me more and more confidence to be, I don't want to use the word ruthless, but to be the person that goes, you know what, I am not Honey Rouhani anymore. I am Musetta. Don't know her surname. Does anyone know Musetta's surname? To just then, open the doors and go in and create chaos within the first, within the second act. But I've understood that obviously understanding what you're saying helps a lot. So that the language, the storyline, they've all helped me with portraying my character differently. every time I've done it. And not only from production to production, but every night. So when we are on the West End, we have 8 performances a week. I mean, we get one night off, but one or 2 nights sometimes off. But you are on constantly playing the same role in the same space, with the same people. I mean, sometimes our casts change, but generally it is the same person constantly going on stage. And so what helped me was that every night I went, first of all, putting on makeup for your character is one of the most fun things you would do, because you kind of feel like, okay, now I'm becoming this person. And there is something that I've always done ever since my very first principal role in 2010. Shirin, I will answer your question in 1 second. Before I went on stage, I remember there was a mirror, and that always exists pretty much in every theatre. There is a mirror in the wing just before you go on stage, and I remember I looked at myself and I uttered the words, "This is where honey ends. You are now someone else." And the more I did that, the more I realized, actually, I can completely forget about myself and kind of inject someone else within me in terms of someone else's character, someone else's essence inside me. In 2018, basically what I'm trying to say is that no matter how many times you do a particular role, every single time you learn that role more and more. You go in it more and more with the stories, with the things that you discover about that person, that other person. And what I'm trying to say to you is that in 2018, I did a competition in Italy, and for the final, I was supposed to sing Quando me vo. And that was yet another time that I had to sing, but in a concert production. And, well, actually, it wasn't a production, it was just a concert with the orchestra in front of the jury and the audience. And that was really hard, because it was even more naked than what I was used to, even at King's Head, with only 4 of us on stage and the audience, and very, in a confined space. So I realized that I can't really think about which one of my musettas I'm going to portray. I just realized that she lives in me. So I just went on stage and just sang. And funny enough, they actually gave me the prize for the best interpretation of a role, which I'm extremely humbled about. But it just made me realize that no matter how much I try to think about this particular character, for now, she lives in me. And so whatever I did, whatever that came out that night in terms of the character that I was performing, I would say that it was a combination of all of these roles, all of these musettas that I had played up to then. So I can take some questions now. Let me know if you have any questions. Shirin, I will read your question. Did your passion about singing develop over time? Yes and no. I started singing when I was about 16, but I never took it seriously, because I was very lazy with practicing and all of that. But I then, after I joined the Silver Young Theatre School, I realised that I love just being on stage, because I had done ballet for a long time and I just loved being on stage. So I decided to go into musical theatre, and then when I went to audition, they told me that I have a more operatic voice, and I loved opera, but I never thought I would be that person to sing opera. And so obviously the more I got into it, my voice developed more. And therefore, yes, my voice developed, but my passion also developed more over time, because I realized how much it was a way for me to really speak my feelings and speak my passion, speak my expressions and feelings out with my song. Ella, what advice would you give other singers about working with guns? Right. Make sure you hold it properly. But this Ella is talking about our previous production at the Trafalgar Studios when I was playing the role of Tosca as well as the role of Musetta. So in Tosca, I had to hold a gun, and it was a real gun, but it didn't have things in it, obviously. So it was quite funny. My advice is listen to your director when she tells you to hold it in a particular way. Hold it in a particular way, and when the stage manager comes on and goes, "No, you're not holding it correctly," listen to her, because things can go a little bit difficult. But I must say, some nights, as soon as I took the gun out, some people went "whoa" in the audience. So yes, Ella, I will always listen to you. Any other questions? Do you have a favorite role? This is from Florin. Do you have a favorite role that you haven't played before? Yes, I do. One of my favorite roles that I always want to play is Violetta in Verdi's La Traviata. I have done a concert version of it, but I've never done a full production of it. So it would be my dream come true to sing Violetta, because she's one of those other roles that makes me really, not makes my blood boil, because that makes me angry, but makes my blood get really warm with passion. Anyone else? Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to have to close, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions about roles, or the singing voice, the different types of voices, because it's not just Musetta that I wanted to talk to you about. It's literally any role that you're constantly revisiting. The more and more you do it, the more you realize this person is a part of me. I just have to tweak a little bit because the essence of this person is in me. I just have to, it's like working on yourself, like you work on yourself, you analyze your own personality. It's like that. Mark is asking me, is there a difference for you when performing on a bigger stage compared to when you are up close and personal with the audience, like at the Trafalgar Studios? Tosca. Yes and no. In terms of performing, in terms of the way any partner that you dream at, Florin, you need to offer a favorite artist that you'd like to work with. Yes, I will come back to you. I'm just going to answer Mark, and then after these two questions, I have to close the session, guys. Yes and no, Mark, because working on a bigger stage, you have this grand stage art, and you're standing on it. The audience is away from you, and mostly you can't really see them because of the light. And you are very much in your own world. I find that you are very much in your own world and the world of the people around you on stage. Whereas performing in a very intimate production like the one in Trafalgar Studios, I actually long for coming on stage and seeing everyone's faces and reactions and their expressions. It makes me really, in terms of performing, it doesn't, oh no. In terms of performing, it doesn't change anything for me. You still give it everything. But in terms of seeing your audience faces, it's wonderful. And Florin, do I have any artists that I would love to work with? Yes, I do. And that probably would be, I'm still having problem with, now Facebook has gone crazy again. My favorite person to work with one day, with female, would be either Anna Netrebko or Diana Damrau, and my male artist would be Kaufman. Yes, I would love to work with them, but we'll see. Right, I am going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for listening to me. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. And I would love to thank King's Head Theatre again for this opportunity. The King's Head Theatre online is on every weekday at 1 o'clock. So come, and you're welcome, Florin. So come and have a look and learn about this amazing industry that we're in, be it sometimes crazy industry that we're in. Yes, and keep us posted on if you're doing anything. We'd love to follow you as well, and hope to see you in our future productions. Keep safe, everyone. Love to you all. Bye.